Brawl in the opening hand is never a bad option or something to remove that Flavisham after it goes off one time. You definitely want to have your ramp available as well. That's something you want in any matchup here. But really, it's that Flavisham subgame in the mid game. And then the other thing I want to point out in the mirror here, though, is that these decks are being built slightly differently in the meta right now. There's all sorts of different tools at your disposal. Some people are using Dime still. Some people have worked them out. Shark is there as an alternative win condition with Pirate's Life and other actions that you're pulling back and deploying again. Some people are running Great Stone Dragon. Some people aren't. There's all sorts of weird different techs you can do. And so it'll be really interesting to see how each one of these players has chosen to differentiate their decks based on the field they expected to see. Multiple big characters on the board.
I think, like you said, you hit it right on the head there. That I think looks like a T-Bow. The ramp is really important, and I don't love letting my probably got at least another. You can't really stop the first time they do it when they play the card and they get the two cards off that. But if you can keep them from questing with it, I think you're in a good spot. Lucas is going to be on the play here. Game one leads off with a popsicle. Very important between the two. Sean has an item on one, but it's not going to draw him an extra card here. First check of the match. Do we have a ramp spell on turn two? And it looks like a Tipo is going to help out here. What card do you want to add to your hand here? I see a Sisu already. That is an answer to a Haversam as well from your opponent. So that can actually be like another copy of Brawl for you. So third ink into the inkwell for him. John, I see a Tipo. I see two Tipos in his hand as well. I see both players possibly having Haversam on 4 here. So buckle up. This game might get fast real quick.
Yeah, good point. We do see the Tipo come down. Here comes another ink. We have Sisus in both hands. So this is a mirror in the true sense of the word. Popsicle, Ice Block, one side, the other side. Flavisham comes down, eats the Popsicle, draw 2 cards. We are off to the races.
Yeah, Maui as well getting put into the inkwell. So that's another thing that could possibly answer a Hiram after they've quested, though. So you would be getting 4 cards of it. But like you said, this card is really important. You got to be answering it in the mirror.
I want to mention one other card because I'm interested to see if either player's running it. We saw last round McDuck Manor worked into a deck, and that deck card was popular in the European Championship in these builds, specifically to deal with the mirrors, because this deck has a hard time dealing with it, especially since Maui, Hero to All, has fallen out of favor in some of these decks. So it'll be interesting to see if either one of those is running this, running McDuck Manors, because that's a card that could give them an edge. And there it is. We talked about that Flavisham subgame going off once here upon entering play, but then Sisu taking care of it in quick order, making sure it doesn't stay around for subsequent quests.
Yeah, I like doing that over playing your own copy of the card. You want to make sure, like we said, you don't get the quest with the card here. So Grandma going to come in. What card do we take here? Looks like it's between Brawl and another copy of Maui. By the way, beautiful copies of Maui from Lucas here.
Oh, delightful, shiny, enchanted versions of Maui Hero to All. Hope we get to see one in play eventually. They're fantastic pieces of art.
Does look like the Brawl has been added to Lucas is saying maybe thinking about possibly slowing down the Sisu train here. Oh, it is also just a inkable, so it does look like Ice Block is going to go ahead, shrink the Tipo on the opposing side, letting him get kind of a free chip damage in for Sean here. Back over to Sean. Let's see if he wants to start cashing in some of these Ice Blocks for cards. He can make sort of the same play that Lucas made here. Get a damage kind of put back on the Ice Block Sisu.
Right.
Tipo going back and forth. Looks like he's going to play a Grandma of his own here.
I have the Tipo Wars subgame.
The Tipo Wars. Okay. You've heard of the GD Wars. Are you ready for the Tipo Wars? Dragon getting put into the inkwell as well here. Another Popsicle added for Sean here. It's going to draw another card here. But that is one of the big plays for Sean getting put into the inkwell here. That is something that could come in these games. If they go super long and you have to if you have to ink some of your really big impactful cards early, that means you won't have access to them late. So double attack into the Tipo here after ice blocking it. It's going to go ahead and remove it, and no damage onto the characters over on Sean's side. Back over to Lucas. You know what? I really appreciate the speed at which these players are playing in this mirror. They want to make sure they get this round over with.
Hey, they know what they're doing. They know their deck. They know their opponent's deck pretty well, obviously. I do love the Ice Block game going on here. One of the affectionate names for this deck is Sisu on Ice. It's built that strength manipulation with the Ice Blocks plays well into Sisu and other cards in this deck. So I love seeing that going on here. This deck showing what it does.
Probably my favorite deck name in all of Disney's Lorcana here. Haversam comes down, eats up one of those Popsicles, draws 2 cards. And Matalia going to go ahead and attack the other one with 2 Ice Block activations. It means only 1 damage going to go across over on the Grandma on Sean's side of the board. We got another Grandma here for Lucas' side. I'm trying to keep up here. I'm going to go at breakneck speed. Madam getting sent to the bottom. One of those big plays getting added here. That's a Tamatoa getting put into the inkwell. That's going to allow a brawl to take care of that Haversam, though, from Lucas here. So
yeah,
checks, I mean, on both sides on the Haversam so far in this game.
Very, very important. Again, whichever side manages to get the Flavisham going in the mid game 2, 3, 4 times is the one that usually wins. So having those answers for that Flavisham is very important. We've gone through the mid game Flavisham phase war here, and now we're moving on to the late game.
Yeah, this is one of the problems that we can kind of run into here. You see Sean putting his 7th ink into play with 3 cards in his hand and just passes right back over to Lucas. Lucas with a dime in his hand. One of the more impactful cards that could possibly come up here. It looks like he's going to go ahead and set up this dime. I like getting this into play as soon as you possibly can, so you can start using it every single turn from here on out. Let's see if Sean has possibly one of those tech cards, like maybe like a hideaway or something in his deck that can take care of this dime.
Yeah, it's very good. Very talking to a very good Ruby Sapphire player, who Hal Brady, fantastic player, doing a tech of this deck early on, and he told me, you know, with the Lucky Dime, you reminded me, there's always a turn you kind of have to take off to slam the dime. If you have it in your hand in the early game, it sets it up. But space to do that here, getting it on board, and you're right, you can use it every single turn. But on the opposite side, Sean has an answer.
Yeah, that Sisu along with those ice blocks where you get the Sisu on ice. Clearing up the board from Lucas here. Lucas with another Grandma here. Going to look at these top 2 cards. 2 really powerful ones. That's a Tamatoa and a Sisu. More Enchantress here. That Tamatoa, though, you got to believe you're going to be going after that with Lucky Dime. And your deck already picks up a half shark here as well. Sail the Azure at Sea. Sail the Azure at Sea. Going to draw another card here. That's going to be a Visions from Beyond. Another card that could be very powerful in these super late games. Going to go ahead and bring down that power on the Grandma here. Nope. Just played that one. Can't attack here this turn. Back over to Sean. I think if the player's playing at this speed, that won't be the last little misstep that we possibly see between these two. But I can appreciate the speed at which they're playing. And again, they need to do this to make sure this match ends on time. Grandma's going to sing here. Grandma's probably got a pretty good voice, huh?
That's true. Very appropriate singing How Far I'll Go.
Yeah. One of my favorite Disney songs. All right, Visions from Sean here. Going to take a look at 5 cards. A lot of different ones you can pick up here. Haversam's not a bad one. It's going to get you into a lot of cards later in the game. Any of the big plays are great. You know, you guys are getting a little worried when there's a Lucky Dime sitting on your opponent's side of the board. That's a card that can start ending the game really, really quickly, especially if they find something like Tamatoa, which we know Lucas has in his hand.
I don't think you'd be upset to get a Tamatoa. I don't think you'd be upset to get a half shark here. There's a lot of good options, and 5 cards is digging pretty deep.
Don't know if he has 10 ink just yet. Didn't get a look at any of the 5 cards or the card that went into Sean's hand here, so mystery for us here, but maybe we'll get something else from him. He does have the Sisu active in play. That gets 3 lore for him here this turn. That's going to put Sean up to 5. These players starting to quest up a little bit. Big Sisu drawn for Lucas here this turn as well. I don't think that's 10 ink, but we're getting close. Looks like 8 for me. Visions for Lucas here as well. This one we can see a dragon. I think double Sail the Azure Sea, a Madam. What was that last one? Oh, Let It Go. Okay, so lots of different answers for Lucas here. Looks like he's going to take the Madam here, if I saw that right. Something that he can deploy this turn. Looks like that is. It's going to be the Madam. So not only does that take care of Grandma, but it is going to put the Sisu in check as well. That's 4 strength. That's going to be able to take out that 4 willpower Sisu as well. So nice little answer for Sean here.
Yeah. Back and forth, back and forth. You know, with the dime on board, oh goodness, a dime on the other side.
Dimes,
oh,
this is going to be gracious. A 6 lore turn for Sean here if he wants it. He doesn't have to quest to a Sisu though. Might not want to trade that.
And leave that up there as a dime lore battery, as it were.
Yeah, good point. He can cash in that dime every turn of the Sisu for 3. This is going to speed the game up quite a bit for Luke here. This is a Tamatoa. It's going to go ahead and get a Popsicle back. Already got 2 other items in play. So second card into the ink. That's going to go ahead and put a Popsicle. That is a Be Prepared and a Sisu left over. He's going to quest up with both of his characters here. Going to take the lead 6-5. But the real threat is the Tamatoa plus Lucky Dime.
Tamatoa can get out of hand rather quickly.
Yeah. Back over to Sean. Does he have a Be Prepared? Does he have a Dragon? Does he have an answer to this Tamatoa? These are questions that need to be answered very quickly for Sean.
Oh, there's the
there we go. There's the Be Prepared. It's going to clean up the board.
The big reset button. Oh, Tamatoa of his own. Going to pull back an item.
Yeah, when you see Be Prepared getting sung by something that could have gotten 3 lore this turn, you have to know there's a big play coming behind that. So that's a Tamatoa Sean's own, and he's got the dime in play. Lucas was the first one to get a dime and a Tamatoa in play, but it looks like Sean might be the first one to actually start reaping the benefits of it.
Yeah, what a play. I mean, singing Be Prepared, always impactful. You can follow it up with a card like Tamatoa. Here we go, activating the dime. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 lore immediately off that Tamatoa having just come in play.
Great turn for Sean here. There is a Be Prepared back on Lucas's side here if he wants it.
And now you have to answer this Tamatoa. There it is. Be Prepared. Clear the board. It's just a crab, but it has to go.
Yeah, it's a pass back over to Sean. That Sisu, that how far will go left over. And Sean's saying, all right, Sisu played for Sean here. Lucky dime activated. He's up to 15. Depending on what Lucas does here, Sean might be able to answer this. I mean, might be able to win this game next turn.
Oh, not what you need there. Although ice block, no we're not enough.
All right, so you got to, yeah, I was supposed to say, Sean's going to be able to win this game next turn with the lucky dime and the Sisu activation. So Sean is going to win game 1 between these two players. Wow, that was fast for these two guys.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. This is a game.
Yeah. Again, I got to appreciate the speed at which these guys are playing. These are two players that know their deck very well, know the matchup very well, and they were playing at breakneck speed. Absolutely love it from those two guys. Great game between these two, and we've got another one to follow that up.
I know. I mean, once again, I do want to point out the Flavisham sub-game in the mid-game. Those players fought that out. You know, neither one of them stuck around for long. That's one of the keys to victory. And gosh, that lucky dime came down first on the left, but it's the one on the right that really closed out the game.
Yeah, I think that's a really big, impactful thing you're talking about. The lucky dimes, they're so huge for both of the players. And the first one to really get an activation for a big amount is at such a huge advantage. Looks like we're going to go head back down to the feature match area, get into that second game between these two, see if the match gets evened up or somebody comes home with a 2-0 victory.
All right, so Sean taking game 1. Lucas looking to split this, scoop up 3 points.
Oh, nice little opening 3 there for Lucas. See your Haversam. Looks like he's going to put the hideaway back, though. Thought about keeping it, possibly.
Yeah, really looking for a turn 1 play. Really looking for that ramp card. We did have the Flavisham, but I didn't see any turn 2 ramp, which is going to set you behind.
Really, really good point here. And depending on the player draw, I forgot which one he's going to be on. You might get a couple of cards more to look at it, too. So getting 5 more cards off the top plus 2 draws, I mean, you're at a pretty good chance to hit one. But if you miss in the matchup and your opponent has it, you are at a severe disadvantage.
It feels really bad. There are some catch-ups later on with how far I'll go and some others, but it really does put you on the back foot.
Yeah, so much pressure on the opening hands here from both these players in this matchup.
See, a really top-heavy hand here on Lucas. 2 Maleficent Dragons. We do have the 6-cost Madame Medusa. I don't see the turn 2. We do have Visions of the Future. We can dig a little bit, but there's no turn 2 ramp card. Oh, 3 Visions of the Future. Oh, my goodness. This is, we can play it. We can dig a little bit, but this is not a great opening for Lucas. On the right-hand side, we do have the Popsicle turn 1. I see the Flavisham there on turn 4. I do see the Tipo being drawn here. This is the ideal opening on the right side. So, gosh, this is a tough spot.
I actually think both players didn't have the turn 2 ramp, and Sean top decked the Tipo on his turn.
Man.
So now the pressure's on Lucas. Do you have it in you to top deck a Tipo or an Azurite Sea or something along those lines? Nope, that is another miss here.
It's the Popsicle. So most likely we're going to ink a Visions. We're going to play a Visions. We're going to dig for that ramp or something that we can use. Not a lot of help here. Ice blocks, how far I'll go.
And some Mauis. It looks like an ice block is one of the choices here for Lucas. Really?
Yeah, we do need Flavisham food. I'm not sure if we have any others. So we do have the Popsicle. So that's available. Man, we're going to see a textbook example head of open here on the right. And Lucas just unlucky here. Not what he needs. There's the turn 3 Flavisham. Eating that Popsicle, drawing 2 cards. Does Lucas have an answer for that? I don't think he does.
If he doesn't, I don't know if Lucas is going to be able to win this game. So he's going to dig here. Popsicle added to hand. Doesn't have the Sisu. Doesn't have the Brawl here. This is the nightmare scenario. So Visions here again. If you're Sean, you've got to be feeling great being in the spot. No ramp, no answer to Mahirem. If you have another item here, you can start digging super far down into your deck to make sure that your draw is going to be so perfect. It looks like that's
there it is. There's the Popsicle, drawing a card. Flavisham going to eat that here in short order, gobbling up that delicious Popsicle, drawing 2 more cards.
If Sean has another ramp behind this or something like how far I'll go, he might just pull so far ahead in this game. That's 4 ink. That's how far I'll go. I don't want to call it too early, but Sean is in a commanding position.
One card in the inkwell, one card in hand. That sets. Look at that resource disparity there. Back over to Lucas, hoping to top deck. Well, we'll play a Flavisham this turn, allow you to get a few more cards. We don't. Yeah, there's the Flavisham. Nope. Instead, we're going to brawl. Get rid of that Flavisham. Shut that down.
So there was a brawl there. It does answer the Flavisham, but 4 cards gotten off that Flavisham. Still a lot of resources. We're talking about the ink advantage here, too. There's 4 on one side, 6 on the other. We still might have another ink turn. Flaversham's going to go ahead and pick off this ice block, get all the information, all the cards before we ink here. Possibly even cast and play maybe like Azurite Sea. Lots of things that Sean can still do.
It's so disheartening taking care of that Flavisham and having another one come down right behind it.
Another popsicle edit here. Tipo into the inkwell. Sean's getting a little bit of his questing on here, too. He's up to 4. And look, nickeling, diming your way up. Yeah, I did that on purpose. Getting a little bit of extra just so you can maybe get that 1 or 2 big turns of dime to finish the game quickly. If you can get up to, say, 6, 7, 8, you can finish the game pretty quickly from there. Some of your better draws. Another Haversam from Lucas as well, but Sean has such an advantage on ink here and tempo.
Now, I will say, any deck with board wipes in it, there are big reset buttons, so unless this is closed out very quickly, there are ways to kind of keep this game going, stretch it out, and so there are ways back in for Lucas.
So 2 more lore here for Sean's going to put him up to 6. The Haversam's going to draw 2 more cards off that popsicle. Sean counting up his ink. That's not good if you're Lucas. You never want to see that. Let's see, is this going to be a Sisu maybe to take care of the Haversam and put the most pressure? Yes, it is. Sean just keeps pulling further and further ahead every one of these turns. Does Lucas have what it takes to get out of this? Doesn't even have enough to be prepared here at the start. Did he draw?
He does not. He does not have enough. Madame Medusa there taking care of the Flavisham, but pointing out the importance of the turn 2 ramp. Had you hit that ramp, you'd have enough for the be prepared there. We didn't, so we don't. Giving another turn of Sean, questing with his characters. Maleficent Dragon coming down, removing Madame Medusa, really threatening board over there.
Back to Lucas. Is this his 7 ink turn? I think he has to be prepared.
And he does have to be prepared, so we are going to see it reset. Again, there are ways back in, but unfortunately, when you're not singing it, when you're playing it, you give your opponent the chance to respond first. So back over to Sean with a big answer.
As Tamatoa is going to get back one of those popsicles. It's already been eaten a bunch this game. The popsicle is going to get played. I don't know how many cards Sean has left in his hand. There's still more than 1 or 2, I think. I think he's still got a couple. It looks like Maui's going to go ahead and get into the ink. Yeah, I think he's still got 4 or 5 cards left over here. Back over to Lucas. Does he have another answer? Looks like Popsicle's going to go ahead. Draw a card here. Lucas is so fast at drawing his card for a turn. I'm not even seeing it half the time. Haversam's going to go ahead and draw 2 cards here.
Yeah, luckily not a lot of items on the board at the moment, but plenty to pull back. The problem for this deck is that the biggest answer to a Tamatoa is either a lot of ice blocks or be prepared. Yes. That's the biggest way to clear out these big characters, and so you only have so many.
I'm not sure if I saw it, but I do think the last card in Lucas' hand might be a dragon, so he might be able to answer it next turn when he finally gets up to enough ink. So there's at least that for Lucas here. We do have a 10-0 lead on the lore here. It's about to get a lot higher. There's 2 for Sean here, going up to 12, gets back the Popsicle, plays the Popsicle, draws another card. It's going to keep getting, exponentially bigger every turn. See what he's going to do behind this.
C4 ink. If it's a Flavisham, this engine's really going to get going.
Plus, I was trying to count his ink here to see if he has possibly like Lucky Dime, enough to do Lucky Dime activate. I think that he does, but I don't know if Sean has the Lucky Dime here. Like we've been talking about all day, I think they've cut down sometimes on playing, how many copies they have of that card, depending on how many they have of Pirate's Life in their deck. But we haven't seen that out of either one of these players yet.
No, that is true. We have seen Shark around. We haven't seen the Pirate's Life, but you're right. A lot of players cutting down on Lucky Dime, some going as low as 1. I've even seen a Dimeless deck in a recent tournament placed in the top 2. So that is true.
Big Sisu played here that's going to take care of the Hiram Flaversam for Lucas. Going to slowly count up his ink here. Got a couple different answers in his hand here. 2 big Haversam, 2 big Sisus of his own, but the Dragon's going to come down, eat up that Tamatoa. Crabs taste pretty good. I think dragons like crabs.
I think so.
I know, I'm a big fan.
Dragons also like gold, and Tamatoa is so shiny.
That's a really good point, yeah.
So unfortunately on Sean's side, unfortunately for Lucas, another high lore quester there.
Another big play coming in for Sean here. Well, maybe little bit of a balk here. Yep.
Another Tamatoa.
And I think there's another item left over. Yeah, it's another
so
popsicle.
many items. Popsicle comes in, draws another card.
The cards just keep coming for Sean. The hits just keep on coming for Sean. And the lore just keeps on getting higher. That's going to be all the way up to 15 here.
15, that represents game on board. We have more than we need on Sean's side of the board.
I don't know if Lucas can answer. I was saying, okay, so you can trade into the Sisu, but Tamatoa does quest for 4 here, so any other item gets the game over with here immediately.
We have nothing available to draw, so really we're just gonna have to play a big threat and just hope that Sean doesn't draw the item he needs or the lucky dime to close down this game.
Yeah, any item I think gets it done here. Lots of ways to either have it. Oh, that'll get it done too.
Pirates. We talked about we haven't seen it yet. There's a Pirate's Life. I don't need the item. I'm going to play this other card, which has become very popular in this deck, to get 2 lore, reduce my opponents by 2, and put me over the edge. Gosh, what a great series. Unfortunately, for one of the players there, just not getting what you need in this deck. This deck is full of top end, and it needs to ramp into these top end answers. If you don't have what you need, it's difficult. And missing that turn 2 ramp can be game breaking.
Yeah, I think we really showed the importance there of the strength of your opening hand in mirrors like this, where only certain things matter, right? You talk about like there's the higher end, mid game, sub game, however you want to put it, and then there's the big plays, right? There's all the 7, 8, 9s that are really impactful, right? You know, there's Dime, there's Tamatoa and things like that. And when one of the players has ramp and the other one doesn't, you saw how much easier it was for Lucas in that game to do what he's trying to do every turn, while the other player had to answer it every turn from there. And if you can't for one turn, you pull super far ahead. You kind of get into a situation where it's your game to lose from there. And that shows you in the stress that it puts on that matchup of how important it is for those opening those hands to be so good, and how impactful it is for you to, reshape your opening hand, make sure you get rid of the cards you don't need, and hopefully draw the ones you do. And I do want to point out that both players did that. Neither was fully successful, but one of them drew Tipo on turn 2 while the other one didn't, and the game just absolutely snowballed from there.
Sometimes the cards are with you. Sometimes the cards are with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get into the wrapping up today's show, let's take a look at the prizes the players going to be playing for on the next day, because we do have a lot of players that have qualified for day 2, and here are some of those prizes.
And these are beautiful prizes. These are cards that are being premiered here at the Disney Lorcana Challenge Continental Championships, both in Europe and America, and North America. Here, we're showing you the top 16 and the top 8 prizes, this fantastic alternate art Cusco enchanted card, and this Baymax for the top 8. Now, these are available non-foil in the prize wall. These are available in non-foil here from a number of different ways you can earn them. But in foil, the only way to get them right now is to get in the top 16 of these major tournaments. And you'll also get, I might add, in the top 16, this fantastic foil-augmented Baymax playmat, which is just beautiful.
I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there for anybody that's listening that may have get a hold of one of these. I don't have a Lorcana playmat right now, and I'm looking to have one. So if you want to, gift one over to your favorite caster or me, because I'm definitely not your favorite caster, but if you want to, bestow one onto me, well, I'll take that hit. I'll be okay with it. And I could do worse.
Of course. I'll also point out here, let's talk about tomorrow, because we are cutting to the top 16 for tomorrow. And that means that this very first match is huge, because not only are you playing tomorrow in the very first round for that incredible Baymax, but more importantly for these competitors, they're playing for what you see on the bottom of the screen, at the bottom right, a chance to play in the Disney Lorcana Challenge World Championship.
I'm going to say this. Gold Mickeys aside, those are great. Don't get me wrong. Trophy's amazing. That right there is what everybody's really shooting for. That's the first prize everybody wants. They want to make the top 8 so they can play in the Disney Lorcana World Championship, because that is going to be an even smaller tournament than this, with a huge prize pool, a whole bunch of stuff on the line, and then the ultimate prize of being the first ever Lorcana World Champion, something that no one can ever take away from you, and that you'll be able to have bragging rights for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. And there'll only ever be one first.
A couple other prizes for those players that make it into that top 8. Like I said, look, all the bragging rights, that's not too bad either. Getting yourself a golden Mickey. We've seen the players now how happy they are. You've seen those ceremonies at the end of the tournaments where they get presented their golden Mickeys with just beaming smiles from them. I think winning one at Disneyland is definitely a flex that you can have. Hey, I won mine at Disney.
Absolutely.
Mickey's here. You can take a picture of Mickey and the gold Mickey. We've had him walking around in the building along with some of the other characters as well. Really cool stuff there. Not to mention you get a serialized one, so you know forever that's the one that you won.
That's the one that you won, and that's the one that you won here. And some great numbers to be awarded. We see number 1 on the screen here. Maybe number 1 will be awarded tomorrow.
Absolutely. And don't forget, the finalist is going to get a full set of Azurite Seed foil, including those enchanted cards. But if you're the champion, you're going home with 4 of every single one of those cards in the set and every one of the most beautiful versions of those cards as well. I am so jealous of those binders at the end of the tournaments. Another thing that the players are always super, super happy about, because I love the bling. I love the beautiful cards in my decks, and this is the easiest way for you to get the full set.
And Azurite Sea has some amazing enchanted art in those binders, and it's just fantastic. 4 of every single enchanted card. I mean, that's amazing.
All right, enough talking it up. Enough talking about what they're playing for. Let's take a look at some of these brackets. It seems like we've got the 2 brackets set up for tomorrow. The 16 players that have made it into day 2 and have a chance to play for the World Championships. Let's take a look.
In our Cinderella bracket, you're seeing the first 8 competitors. Over the top there, you have Mo Shamblin. We've seen him play today multiple times on his Amethyst Emerald deck. Do you see anything surprising in this bracket here, Tannen?
What are you trying to point out there, buddy? There's a lot of blue-red, I'll tell you that. I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, blue-red very well represented in the field today, converting very well, it seems, here. 3 decks in this bracket.
I found the most surprising thing for me in this bracket.
What's that?
Zan Syed made it into another elimination part of a tournament. That's the most surprising thing. Oh, wait, maybe I'm a little sarcastic. Zan Syed, one of the players we definitely expected to see here in day 2. A DLC champion, one of the better players in the world, and just a pioneer of all of the decks that he plays.
That's true. We also have another DLC champion in Edmund Chu from DLC Dallas down there with his Ruby Sapphire deck. Ruby Amethyst deck.
Yeah, lots of great players here. As you see, a lot of blue-red as well down there. The bottom are going to be, kicking it off with, if this is the matchups, then that's going to be a mirror match down there at the bottom between those 2 players. A lot of great names here. Every one of these players hopefully gets a good night's rest, because their very first match of the day tomorrow is one of the biggest ones, if not the biggest match they will ever have played in Disney's Lorcana.
And before we move on to the Rapunzel bracket, the last thing I'll say is take a look at the spread of decks here. You have Amethyst Emerald, you have Emerald Steel, you have 2 Blurple decks, you do have a couple of Ruby Sapphire decks, and then you have Ed Chu on Ruby Amethyst. So quite a spread here. Players showing that you can take a variety of decks into the top cut here and qualify for the top cut.
All right, let's take a look at the other 8 players that are going to be making up our bracket here on this side. And hey, there's a name that we know and love. No surprise, Zach Bevins here. I think he was pacing the field early in this tournament as well. In with his purple steel deck, he's going to be playing that top spot here, along with a couple of other. Hey, look, we've got a nice diversity on this side as well.
Yeah, it's really interesting. On the other side, I talked about the spread of decks, but one thing missing was Amber. We had no Amber steel decks, although we saw plenty of them on the stream today. Over on this side, they've clustered up on the Rapunzel side. I think all of the Amber decks wanted to be near Rapunzel. So they're all over here. Good chance that one of them, based on the math, makes it into the semifinals and then the finals on that side. So a variety of decks here. We do see some Amethyst Steel decks again here, which were somewhat represented, but kind of a low representation in the meta, but converting very well into day 2. So a really fantastic spread. One thing I'll point out, a lot of people thought that Ruby Amethyst would be the deck to play here. Only one of them in the top 16.
I feel a little vindicated. We talked about this a little before the tournament. Nothing wrong with that deck. I think it's a great deck. I think it's a much stronger best of 3 deck than a best of 2 deck for you here. We saw some great players playing it, but I'm not super surprised by that one. Might be one of the ones that may have underperformed just